Mother always said, stand behind Braum. Hello everyone, and welcome to the next A to Z, which is Braum. So, we are going to be judging him. Why I wanted to state that, I do not know. But let's get into it. So, Braum, the heart of the Freljord. Damage is magic. Honestly, I'd say he's kind of split, so I would disagree with this, because there's quite a bit of time when he's just punching your face in. So I would move that a bit closer to, like, in between. You sure about this? So his toughness should be 3. I'm not quite understanding why it's over there. He literally has an ability that blocks a ton of things. Crowd control is definitely that. He has a stun, a slow, and a knock-up. Utility is also very much this. And I guess, yet again, apparently 1 mobility ability isn't enough to give you 2 mobility, because he doesn't have any. And yes, he does have very little attack. I think his difficulty is right. You only need it. He's not insanely difficult, but he's not that easy either. Blessed with massive biceps and an even bigger heart, Braum is a beloved hero of the Freljord. Every med hall north of the Frostheld toasts his legendary strength, said to have felled a forest of oaks in a single night, and punched an entire mountain to rubble. Bearing an enchanted vault doors, his shield Braum roams the frozen north, sporting a mustached smile as big as his muscles, a true friend to all those in need, except for the enemy which he beats to death. Well, that was fast. Okay. Concussive blows is passive. Braum adds stacks of concussive blows to enemies with basic attacks or Winter's Bite. He and his allies continue to add stacks with basic attacks. At 4 stacks, their target will be stunned. So I honestly think that this is balanced and broken at the same time. It honestly has a pretty big cooldown per person, so after being stunned once, it's really not that bad. But at the same time, it's very annoying getting stunned when you're, like, in bot lane. But in team fights, it really doesn't have all that big of an effect. It's there, you can tell it's there, but it's really not all that much, honestly. So it's really only effective in lane, well, truly effective in lane, and because of that, I don't really find it that big of a deal. And that, yeah, it's annoying in lane, but at the same time, he has to auto-attack you or land his Q. And if he lands his Q, then there are counterplay options, such as just keep running because it's only a slow, and unless he's already right next to you, you should be fine, honestly. Unless also he can exhaust you and, like, do other things, and depending on who he's with could cause some problems, but because it is bot lane, you also have your support, so it could really go either way, honestly. Winter's Bite. Braum's propels freezing ice from his shield, slowing and dealing magic damage. Applies a stack of concussive blows. So this is actually an ability that I find completely fine. As I said, it's really the only thing that allows him to get his passive off that easily. I think it has good range and it does good, reasonable damage. It doesn't do insane amounts of damage, especially because he has a tank and all. And honestly, I find the ability completely balanced the way it is currently. Okay. Stand behind me. Braum leaps to a target allied champion or minion. On arrival, Braum and the ally gain armor magic resist for a few seconds. I agree with this ability as well. It really works well with his E, which he can use right afterward. It works well with him being able to, like, get to his, whatever the heck it's called, his ally. It is definitely a really good support ability that I think is crucial to his kit. If anything, I would honestly maybe give him a little buff and make it so that this can stack to 2. Not any higher than 2, just to 2. And the second cooldown will take significantly longer than the first one. Okay, maybe not significantly, maybe like a third. Like, let's say the cooldown's 12 seconds. You build it once, it'll take 12 seconds. The second time, it'll take 16 seconds, because that's 4 more seconds, and that's a third of 12. Something like that. That way it's not insane and every time you fight he can jump twice. Okay, let's go to his E. Unbreakable. Braum raises his shield in a direction of several seconds. Interception to all projectiles, causing them to hit him and be destroyed. He negates the damage of the first attack completely and reduces the damage of all subsequent attacks from this direction. I like the ability and I don't like it at the same time. I believe that you can use your Q while your E is up, and in that scenario I do not think it's a good idea, and I think that they should remove that capability so that when his E is up, he cannot do anything. Like, he can't even auto attack, because I'm pretty sure they also allow him to auto attack while his E is up as well. The reason I disagree with this is because it makes him too strong while proccing his passive. And because, like, it's just a big problem to be constantly hitting him, and he just doesn't care while he's punching you in the face. Which is why I was saying earlier that, like, that's a big deal of him, is honestly punching you, because if I have been punched by him when, like, his shield is up, but they could have honestly potentially changed it since the last time I've been in bot lane against a Braum. And, like, before, both he could use his Q and he could hit you. And I agree somewhat to the Q. Not really. I think it's a bit too strong. Or take one or the other. Either he can't auto-attack or he can't use his Q. I would honestly take he can't auto-attack over the Q, just because the Q will help him proc the, whatever the heck it's called, his, like, the slow, and to be able to punch you, but he won't be able to get the stun off alone anyway, unless he moves forward. Now, the only thing I don't like about this is because it makes him forced to play support, and he really won't be able to use his E in, like, an actual one-on-one fight, like if it was more in top lane. Maybe something along the lines of, we could also add something differently, like, if upon his E blocking any shot at all, no matter what it is, whether it's an auto attack or an ability, his Q will lose a second of cooldown, meaning that if he's, like, fighting someone and they're punching him while he's chasing after them and using his Q, it will cause him to do whatever the heck it's called. It'll cause his Q to lower in cooldown. And something along that line. That way it'll make him more of, like, a threat in top lane. Okay, Glacial Fissure. Braum slams the ground, knocking up enemies nearby and in a line in front of him. A fissure is left along the line that slows enemies. Okay, now when it comes to this ability, I think that it's a bit annoying to deal with, but I do think it is balanced in general, because it's a very big playmaking ability, and it really doesn't do all that much damage. But yes, it does slow for a good amount, and it is a knock-up, so it is very difficult to, like, do anything if you're inside of it. But at the same time, after the initial knock-up, if you have any form of mobility at all, or even if you just, like, focus walking out of it, you can get out of it and walk around it very easily. So the really only time it's that effective is, yet again, in team fights, which is pretty reasonable because his passive and his, like, W and Q really aren't all that strong in team fights, and they're more single target things, but his E is actually pretty strong in team fights anyway. Now, altogether, I think his kit goes well with each other very well. I think that they did a good job in general making this champion, and that he is fun. As I was saying, that we're just gonna do, like, a real quick roundup. I think that his passive is fine the way it is. Honestly, I find it a bit annoying, but I think it is fine. I think his Q is fine the way it is as well. The only thing I would change to it is making it, like, work with his E, like getting hit or it lowers the cooldown. I think his W is fine, but as I said, I would maybe buff it and potentially let him jump twice upon, like, the cooldown being reset with a longer cooldown the second time around. I think that the E is completely fine just the way it is, just because he is a tank and he doesn't do all that much damage. And that, you know, being hit with anything causes the Q to lower in cooldown. But not his W. His W or only the Q, nothing else. And then I find his ult to be fine just the way it is as well, because it's really not that big of a deal except for the first knock-up, and that's really it. And everything after that is just you just need to get out of the range. Or get out of the area. And it is pretty reasonable, like, if anything, maybe I'd shorten the range, I guess, because it is, like, decently long. As you can see here, it, like, reaches to here. It goes even further beyond, and I feel like that's a bit stupid. But I think that is probably, like, max range, because I'm pretty sure at level 1 it does have a shorter range, and it increases with level. So if that's the case, then I think that is fine. But at the same time, if that's not the case, then I would disagree with it being as far range as it is. Let's go to his skin. So there's this base skin, Dragon Slayer Braum. I think this one just looks incredible, and that's really it. I do wish the one thing that gave him like a bit of a helmet, not like a full-on like dragon helmet, just like a little bit of one, just because. I think that, honestly, I would like to see it with the helmet on and then make my decision after that, just because it could honestly cause a negative effect in my opinion, and I'll want to, like, remove it right away. El Tigro Braum. If he comes with the Poro, I would like the skin so much more, but as the skin is currently, I think it's funny, but I don't really like it myself, and I personally would not use it. But as I said, I do think it is funny, but that's about it. And I wish that his hair was still brown instead of changing it to white. Braum Lionheart, I don't like. I don't like it. I think that it's too medieval, I guess, but that is, like, really what the skin is supposed to be, is a medieval time and all that. But I don't like how it looks at all. Honestly, I would prefer it if he didn't have, like everyone else, if he actually had, like, full face armor and you couldn't actually see his face at all. I think that would, I don't know why I'm just obsessed with head armor and stuff on him, but I would prefer it if you couldn't actually see his face in the skin. And Santa Braum, I love. I think it's a good skin in general, and I like the way that, like, all the animations and everything that go along with it, and I think they did a great job on it. Now, I don't really have any, I guess, direct skins of what I would what I would give to him. Like, the only reason I'm checking this out is because I'm trying to think of, like, a few other skins. I don't really have anything personally for him, honestly. I can't really think of any skins. Maybe they should do a younger Braum type skin, where they just, where he is, there he is, where they have him like this, but, like, with an actual, like, full head of hair, and him being, like, not as big as he is, and make the shield, like, keep the shield, honestly, like, very similar to the same way, because a shield wouldn't be different from that, but I would make it so, maybe put back on maybe repair the shield so that it looks like it doesn't have as much wear and tear, like, take away the cracks, take away that. Just make the shield look more shiny and new, and just make him look younger, change his armor up a bit, and, like, give him, like, a full head of hair and a bigger mustache. Something like that. I think that would be a nice skin for him, but that's really all I got in that department. Okay, well, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. If you want to see more of, like, the A to Z, I do them every Saturday. I don't know why I do that whenever I'm thinking. If you happen to know any Riot member, please tell them of like, my ideas with my A to Z. I would love for them to see it, so maybe they can start working on balancing champions instead of breaking them, because, you know, that's all they seem to do nowadays. I just can't understand their thought process behind, like, anything they do now. But, you know, stupid people do stupid things, and they are definitely stupid people if they're doing these stupid things. Hopefully they can withstand the insults. Okay, thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you all next time, and I'm gonna bid you all adieu. Goodbye!